Right now, I believe Dad would be pretty amused to know that it'd be his quiet, thinking son that'd be the one to get up here and try to do justice to one of the most unique and diverse guys I've ever known. And he knew just the right joke to take the edge off and get the ball rolling. For most of my life, nothing ever seemed hard to Dad. And there was never a stage in my life to this very day that I wasn't in awe of something about my dad. He was the smartest guy I've ever known, the coolest guy I've ever known, and the funniest guy I've ever known. He was all these things in a style that was completely his own. I remember back to when I was a young boy, and every time me and Brent got word that Dad was coming to get us, that meant we were about to do something awesome with him. And sometimes that something awesome was just us two boys and him lying on the end of his bed in his tiny trailer watching Ghostbusters on his little TV. Just being there when he could was all it took to make it great. I remember as I got older how much he taught me. Dad was never just about fixing something. He always wanted me to learn as much as I could too. While replacing my alternator, he taught me how exactly it worked to charge the battery. When my timing chain went out, I still remember him holding the timing light watching those ticks spin by while he taught me how engines work. And of course, you can't talk about Dad and fixing things without remembering how unique his fixes could be. When the antenna broke on my car once, he grabbed the ugliest looking fat CB antenna I've ever seen and mounted it to my car. I looked at that as a 16-year-old boy and wondered what in the world had he done to my car. But I was Ken Hale's son, so I drove it, and I've never had a car with better radio reception. I remember as a young man how Dad was the guy I went to first to talk to, and how much he encouraged me to do just exactly that. No matter the subject, because with Dad, you could talk about absolutely anything. Talking with Dad was the easiest thing to do right from the start in hearing, "Hey, sonny boy." And he always had something in his life that he had experienced that would match up so closely with what I was going through. And was so great at comparing that and sharing what he could have done better just for my benefit. Dad loved to talk with anyone and everyone about anything. From Sirius radio over there to hanging out in his living room with his kids. We could spend hours at his house talking about anything from love, history, to even something as silly as how time travel worked in the Terminator movies. Dad loved hearing about how his kids viewed things and then sharing how they appeared to him and pushing us to clarify and back up our views. He was always so interested in what we were interested in, even if I didn't think he was, you couldn't really tell. I remember breaking out a Stump Temple Pilots CD in high school and listening through the whole thing with them while he commented on how they reminded him of Led Zeppelin in a way. I remember how things changed with Dad when he met Teresa, who he loved more than anything. Dad finally had the peace of being with his perfect match and his soulmate. And with Chrissy and Sammy, Dad got to learn what it was like to live with your kids every day and how to support them on that level in every way. Dad's relationship with his kids was one of the most important things to him, and I imagine it was different for each one of us. It wasn't always perfect, but I imagine not many ever are. We talked about this not long ago one-on-one. He was concerned and disappointed with himself and wanted to discuss how to do a better job with all of his kids, as he'd realized that he wasn't as close with some as others. This will always stand out to me because it was so clear how much this meant to him and how much he wanted to do better. And he was as determined as I've ever seen him at getting it right. Dad had a big heart, and it was biggest for all of us. He used to talk about how his kids symbolized something of him, whether it be brains, humor, or the ability to be yourself. Of course, we all got so much of everything that he was to some degree, but even more, he passed on to all of us the most important thing. Nobody is perfect, but that doesn't matter as long as you love your kids, be there for your kids, keep trying for your kids. We all love you, Pop. Always have, always will.
I've spent the last few days trying to find the perfect words. And I figured out there aren't any perfect words, so I'll do my best. Most of you know who I am, but if you don't, I'm Sammy. But Dad called me Doodlebug my whole life. I was his daughter, but it was by choice, not by blood. I'd never known a time without him, so the thought of pressing on right now seems impossible. If you're here, you must have known him, but I want to share with you what I loved most about him and in turn what I'm going to miss most. I'll miss him asking me, "How about them Chiefs?" I'll miss his belly laugh. I'll miss his hugs. I'll miss his wisdom. I could go to him with anything and he would have an answer. I'll miss hearing him call me Doodlebug. I'll miss watching him with my kids and watching them grow up. I'll miss watching Chiefs games with him. And I'll miss watching him love every single animal he ever came across, snakes included. I will just miss him. He could fix anything, even if it was with just duct tape. And he was the man who never got in a hurry to go anywhere. And after all the time we have spent waiting around on him, because let's face it, he was late for everything, he's waiting for us now to meet him in heaven. Today came too soon for all of us, but I know Dad would want us to be strong in our faith, that he is walking the streets of gold right now. No more dialysis, no more pain, no suffering. And if I close my eyes, I can almost hear him singing with Papa Hale and celebrating their eternal life together. Love you, Dad.